gave him. Hello and good morning, everybody. Good morning to those of you for whom it is morning. We're happy to have each and every one of you here. Welcome to the Nerdy Gritty pre-show. This is why is my camera's way off centered? I don't care. Whatever. You know what? It's not here right now. The pretty gritty G creature. Hey, the pretty gritty. Yeah. We miss you too, G creature. Glad to have you here, my friend. For those of you who don't know, G Creature was one of our fans from back in the Des and Fox days. If you guys did not know this, Fox and I had a Let's Play YouTube channel that also did some like media coverage of like PAX and whatnot. But we did a lot of video game stuff back then and had some folks in a Discord channel and whatnot. So anyway, hey, we're going to be starting a podcast here in a few minutes. But before we get to this podcast, we like to do a little bit of a pre-show conversation here. So here's my pre-show conversation for you guys. Are you ready for this? What sort of spooky, spoopy, whatever things do you do during this time of year? Like, what is it that you like to do within nerd culture to get you prepared for the Halloween season? What do you love to do? G Creature, I know you're not from you're not American, right? If I remember correctly. So I don't even know. Did you all celebrate Halloween from where you're at? I think it's mostly a Western thing. I know that there are other cultures that have Halloween like parallels. What's the word I'm looking for? Halloween similar parallels. Yeah. No. It's a Halloween parallel. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Dia de Muertos, and I think China has one as well. But anyway, my wife and I, we used to have a trunk or treat at the church. This is the first year we're not doing it in like 6 or 7 years. But we would go all out decorating our trunk and like just go absolutely nuts. Like the first year we did it, we had, was the first year Alice in Wonderland? I don't think it was that was our first year. No, our first year was a pirate ship. We actually made like, G Creature's not American. People celebrate, but he personally does not. Okay, yeah, that's fair. But it is celebrated in your area. Not really a big thing locally. That makes sense. Yeah. But so we made this big front of a pirate ship that actually had hinges on it, so we could like fold it up and put it into our van, and then it could unfold. And then we laid down a blue tarp with like a plank of wood over it, and we made kids walk the plank onto our boat, and we would give them candy, and that was a lot of fun. And then we did an Alice in Wonderland one this year. Again, my wife is a costumer, so we would get these great costumes. Anyway, I'll say that eventually we moved into this new house, and I decided, you know what, man? What if we became that house in the neighborhood that just like we had the coolest house every year? And so the first year we did that here was the Alice in Wonderland year. And I had the full Mad Hatter cosplay. Like my wife made it like super duper accurate to the movie Alice in Wonderland, the Tim Burton movies. And we had music going. Hey, all of us secret emo kids favorite, yes. But we had music going and these like styrofoam cutouts of Alice in Wonderland characters. And I was, obviously like acting like the yeah, and so the Mad Hatter. So not only did we have people come through. Oh, Fox's mic is not coming through again. Of course it's not. Ugh. No, it's my fault. It's yeah. See, it's trying to have you come from the. All right, now say some stuff. Go ahead. No. Okay. No. Did you change your microphone? Did you mute your mic? Because now I can't hear you either, and I should be able to hear you. Hold on, what happened? There we go. Okay, now say some stuff. Okay, but Discord's not really picking it up still. My computer has been the worst. Okay, well, now we're gonna try this. Now say some stuff again.
Hey, check.
There
hey,
it is. We gotcha. Okay.
Cool.
Awesome. Sorry, everybody. This was because I played D&D recently, and I tried to set up a fancy camera thing so I could show my physical dice rolls.
Another computer for D&D. Just get one computer for each activity.
No, I need to get a new computer for save point specifically is what it actually needs to be. Like either that or I don't know. There's like thoughts and processes that are going on here, but a lot of like my save point stuff and personal stuff cross over, and it messes things up sometimes, and it's mostly my fault for not being good at computers. But anyway. All this to say, long story continuing to be long. The real reason D&D is the devil's game. It messes with your settings. That's right, Wasabi Jane. That's right. A computer for every different activity. Farrago Fox, I wish.
For each game you play, buy a whole new computer. Every time you stream, whole new computer.
The first year we did it, it was this huge Alice in Wonderland thing. We had people come and trick or treat. Go to a friend's house, say, you got to come see this house, come back and come through and like get pictures and things like that. Last year we did a full steampunk thing, and we had people coming through and asking for, can I get a picture with you? Can my kids get a picture with you? We had parents take a picture of their kids and then have the kids swap them, and the uncostumed parent would come in and get a picture with us. And so this year we're converting our garage into a full mad scientist lab, and I'm really excited for that. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. How about you? The question, by the way, Wasabi Jane, Verigo Fox, anybody else who's kind of trickling in, our pre-podcast question today is, what sort of spooky things do you do during the Halloween season?
I really like, Halloween as a concept. We really don't do much for it. We, you know, uh, last year we went to a pumpkin patch. It was not a good experience. It was out on um, Salvia Island, so it was freaking packed, and we literally sat in the car on the road for like 45 minutes, and it was just not worth it. So Faith brought, my wife brought our son to a smaller pumpkin patch while I helped some people work on their house that they just moved into on Sunday, and it was great for everybody because I didn't have to go to another pumpkin patch. I love the idea of Halloween. I like scary movies. I like all of it. It's just not something I put a lot of effort into outwardly celebrating, I suppose.
G Creature says that in his area. So for those of you who don't know, G Creature does not live in the U.S. So not a big Halloween's not a big thing wherever he's at. But he says that some people organize trick or treating, but hasn't seen it himself. So like, I guess that means like a community will get together and be like, okay, we're gonna do trick or treating, and this is gonna be the area, whatever. So it's just that's kind of cool. Wasabi Jane says, I might have trick or treaters for the first time since I moved out of my parents' house, since I'm in an actual house now. That would be cool. I will say that my old house was was on a main road, was facing a main road, and so we would get like literally one year we got 6 trick or treaters, and that was wild to us. It was so weird.
Our neighborhood should be pretty good for trick or treating. It's pretty instant. Like we get 0.
Really?
The only people who have ever come to our house are either specifically our friends who are our neighbors, the Thorpes, or our goddaughter. They'll drive her over to us and then they'll hang out for a while, but they'll come up and ring the doorbell and say trick or treat. But we have literally, in the 7 years we've lived here, 6 or 7, never gotten a trick or treater we didn't know personally.
The first year we moved into this house, because this will be our 3rd Halloween here. The first Halloween we had here was when we did the Elsmoreland one. It was like a sunny 63-degree perfect Halloween day, and we got 150, 200 maybe. That my 200 is probably a pretty solid estimate of trick-or-treaters to come through. We ran out of candy and had to go and get some more. And then last year it was pouring rain and still probably got 100 people to come through.
Crazy.
So yeah, just huge like suburbia where I'm at right now.
Yeah, it is.
All right. I'm going to go get my bottle of water. I don't have that. I have a quarter of a cold cup of coffee, and that's it right here. So I'll be right back. Hey, Fox, entertain them for 30 seconds, and then we'll get a podcast started.
Oh, no.
You're not entertaining, Fox!
So did you hear? No, something I'm trying to work on is, like, I have a son now, and he's probably going to want to have fun with Halloween, actually do Halloween things, because he's a kid and is getting old enough to recognize things like that. Probably won't do much with him. We're actually going to be out of town for Halloween this year, but that's probably going to be my excuse to get back into like going trick-or-treating and stuff. We'll probably go somewhere else. And I did take him to like a local, it was like at a church nearby, a little like trunk or treat thing last year, but that was more for me because he was at that point like 13 months old, and so had fun looking at all the funny, like the cool costumes and stuff, but really had no idea what was going on, and he was too young to get any candy. So it was all he surprisingly got a lot of Reese's peanut butter cups. I don't, it just happened to coincidentally be my favorite candy. So but that's going to be, we'll probably do something next year. He'll be 3 plus a few months, and definitely probably put some time into like a either family costume or me and him, or we'll figure something out. But yeah, we'll definitely don't want to take away the fun of Thanksgiving from a small child.
You did it. I'm proud of
I
you.
did.
Yeah.
Talked about, yeah.
Do you not have this? No, I have my Bluetooth
You
headphone in,
could
so I
hear
heard
it,
it all.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you not have like the stream open? Like, can you not see the comment section?
Nope.
No. Okay. Well then, fair.
If I had that open while we're doing this, everything starts to chug.
Oh, that's fair. Farrago Fox says, I love going to the corn maze type events, and if my costume is good enough, scaring the workers. I had a Joker with a great fake hand prop. Oh, great fake hand prop, or great fake hand. Yeah, his hand was fake. It was a prop with a fake hand. He wrote fake in there twice, and I was trying to like reconcile that, but
No,
it's
it was a
fine.
fake hand. It was a real hand.
It was a fake hand, his real hand. That's good. I used to run a haunted house, and we would do fake props of like, it would just be, a hand sitting on a table, and then somebody would walk by, and then the hand would pop up and start moving. Like, and what we would do is, because we would inevitably have kids in the neighborhood who wanted to help out, and so it's like a 10-year-old kid or whatever, and he wants to help. It's like, cool. We cut a small hole in this table. Just put your hand up through it, and then we've got prop hands on here as well, and then be the one that just starts moving as people walk by or whatever. And it was awesome. G Creature says, back when I was working abroad, the company was doing costumes and such. The guy I used to be friends with did Kratos and Atreus cosplay of this kid. That's awesome.
That's pretty good.
Think someone took a photo of them in a McDonald's situated next to the office, and it went viral around 2018 or 2019. That's awesome. Farrago Fox says, fake hand was correct. My hand threaded through the fake stump, and it looked like I was holding a fake hand that moved. Oh, so that his hand was fake, and he got it. That's awesome. I like that. All right, y'all. Hey, good conversation. I enjoy this stuff. Hey, we're about to start a podcast here, and our goal someday is to be able to syndicate this podcast, obviously through all kinds of whatever podcaster, whatever.
Well said.
Yeah, I don't forget. There's podcatchers and there's feeds. Yeah, whatever RSS feeds, we'll toss your podcast out there.
Pay for a host.
Which, by the way, if you guys are willing, we would love some support in that area. If you ever would like to be able to listen to the Nerdy Gritty on your phone or just while you're out and about or whatever, it'd be great to have you like jump over and be like, hey, I'm going to donate $5 a month, and I'd like to specify this specifically to the Nerdy Gritty, and $5 a month would even get us started right there. So that would be awesome. But while we are recording the podcast, because we're hoping to syndicate this someday, we will not be communicating with the chat. Like, we will not be interacting with the chat, but pretend like we are and keep putting all your comments, all your posts, put all your stuff in there, because after the podcast, when we're done podcasting, we go back through the chat and we actually look through and go over the comments and read them and talk about them and whatever else. So stick around. Keep putting your comments in the chat. We will go over those, but once we start podcasting, we are going to be not talking directly with you guys anymore. Just a heads up. With that being said, Fox, are you ready to podcast?
I believe so.
I think you got the pre-intro today.
Sure.
All right. You ready?
Yeah, let me Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. Do you call it the Bechdel or Bechdel?
I say Bechdel.
Okay, I'll go with that.
Okay.
I've heard both.
I've heard it both ways. Okay, 3, 2.
Today on the Nerdy Gritty, we create a Christian version of the Bechdel test.
One more world disappears inside it. Just another hopeless addict. World that makes a man instead. If the drums don't get you, the guitars will.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Nerdy Gritty, where we delve deep into the details of pop culture. I am your devious, evil priest, Dez.
And I am your sexy lamp, Fox.
What? What?
I'll explain it. We'll get to that later. No.
What?
At one point, there's a comic book author named I think it's Kelly Sue DeConnick, talking about the idea of the Bechdel test and about women in comics and stuff. She said, if your female character can be replaced with a sexy lamp and nothing really changes, then you might have a problem.
Fair. Hey, we are talking about the Bechdel test today. If you guys don't know what that is, it's a measurement of fiction or film or whatever sort of like media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fiction.
And here's the measurement. It's literally as simple as this. Does one woman speak to another woman about a topic that is not a man? And that's it. If there's one woman,
they pass.
if you do that, you pass. And it is shocking how many films and like other media fail this test. Have 0 women that speak to another woman about anything that is not a man. And so here's what we're going to do today. I have pulled up, I just Googled Bechdel test quiz. And Fox and I are going to go through some quizzes here of the Bechdel test. And we're going to see if we can pass these. I also pulled up, so like if these end up too easy, I have lists of what does and does not pass here, and I'll quiz you specifically. But
Cool.
All right, so the first one here is from Quiz Famous. What? No, dang it, no. This is a does your movie pass the Bechdel test quiz? This is not that. Anyway, so we're not going to do BuzzQuest. Let's try this one. Play quiz. Okay, here we go. 2004 movie starring Nicole Kidman and Matthew Broderick, The Stepford Wives. Did you watch The Stepford Wives back in 04?
I've never seen The Stepford Wives, no.
So the 04 version, what this is about is basically like, the premise.
Brainwashed wives, right?
Brainwashed wives, yes.
In this society, yeah.
Does this pass the Bechdel test, yes or no?
I mean, it would thematically make sense if it didn't, but I have to say that it does.
It's got to, right? She's got to they got to talk to another woman about something
At one point,
else.
There has to be some kind of
like,
overcoming the problem.
Or cleaning house. Because maybe that's what they're talking about. Or being a mom.
About chores.
Yeah, because it's all about that stuff. Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to go with yes. Yes?
Yes.
Yes. Here we go. Yes. At least it was green. It was green when we put it there. So I think that's good. How to Train Your Dragon 2010.
Man, again, another one I haven't seen. You've seen this though, I assume.
Oh yeah, no, I love this whole series. Is great. You should watch them. They really are top notch films. I'm gonna go with
female dragons.
So no, there are 2 characters. There's Tough Nut and Astrid. Yeah, Rough Nut and Tough Nut are twins, brother and sister. There's Tough Nut and Astrid. Those are girls. I'm going to go with no on this one. I don't think they talk to each other about anything but other guys. So, no. Oh, no, we got that wrong. It was yes. That passes it.
Oh, good. It passes the Bechdel test.
2014's The Imitation Game starring Benedict Cumberbatch. I have not seen this movie.
Benedict Cabbage Patch?
Yes.
I have seen this one. I'm going to say no.
You're going with no.
It's largely
correct. It does not.
Yes.
It does not. All right.
It's about Benedict Cumberbatch as what's his face, the guy. It doesn't matter.
Another one. I'm glad you're here. I've not seen this. The Grand Budapest Hotel. Wes Anderson's.
I can remember one female character.
Beautiful
2
film.
female characters. I'm gonna say no.
Correct. It does not. It does not.
Yep. No.
2001's Lara Croft Tomb Raider starring Angelina Jolie.
2001. I think in 2001 A Space Odyssey.
2001 Space Odyssey. Lara Croft Tomb Raider starring Angelina Jolie. Absolutely not.
No, absolutely
I cannot
not.
think of a single other woman in that film at all.
It's her. It's Daniel Craig. It's her butler. Yeah. No, absolutely not. It does not.
Correct.
No.
It does not. 2018's A Star is Born, Bradley Cooper, Lady Gaga. I have not seen this. Shockingly, I have not seen this. I really need to.
I have.
Oh crap! We're also on a timer. We got 2 minutes left.
Oh no!
Out of 20.
Oh no! I'm gonna say no. Those are drag queens.
Does that count? Do they identify as drag queens or as trans?
I'm gonna go with there's no. She works at a drag bar.
Okay. I'm
gonna say no.
Correct. It does not pass the. There is no. Wow. The Lord of the Rings trilogy. All 3 movies, the answer is yes. It's counting all 3 as one. It's nothing. At one point in 2 Towers, Eowyn talks to a little girl and asks if like, how is your soup or something like
yeah,
that.
it's
And
like
that's it.
nothing. It's it technically counts.
Oh,
So
see,
yeah,
this says no. This said no, it
okay.
did not. I get that's garbage, but it does. Maybe it's not a conversation. I guess she asks her
Yeah,
one
that's the
question,
hard
but
that's the hard part is what's a conversation.
that's literally it. That's the only time two women talk to each other at all. I think in that entire film.
Right.
So, uh, 2013's The Avengers. I think no.
It would have to be
It would have to be no.
Black Widow
Black Widow, yeah.
or Maria Hill.
No, they never speak to
No,
each other.
it does not. No.
Correct. It does not.
Yeah.
I know a movie that you and I both have watched 150 times and love very much. The year 2000's Scary Movie.
That one I've never seen.
Never seen it before.
I'm gonna go with yes.
I'm gonna go with yes as well.
Pure guess.
Yeah, it did it.
I watched Scary Movie 3 embarrassing amount of times.
Yes. If it was once, that's an embarrassing amount of times. Okay. 2009's Avatar, Blue People Avatar. I'm going to go with no.
It would have to be either
Sigourney Weaver or Zoe Saldana.
Or the matron, the matriarch.
Oh,
lady.
That's right. And she talks to Zoe Saldana. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going with you. Yeah. Oh, but we ran out of time. And it made it quit for us.
Oh no.
Okay, we're saying yes. Okay, let's see if we can keep going though. No, we can't. Dang it. Okay, I'm gonna refresh here and we're gonna try and fire through these. Ready?
Let's do it.
Okay. So Star is Born. What did we say for Star is Born? Was it yes?
No.
Correct. No. Scary Movie. We said yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I unfortunately know the answer to this one, so I'm gonna let you think about it.
I know the basic premise. I'm gonna say yes.
It does not.
Really?
Yeah, I only know that
whole deal that she is trying to save women
Yep.
from abusive men.
Yep.
But she never talks to. Well, I guess if they talk about the men, that
it's
they're
way
abusing
more
them.
about her murdering people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
But I only know that because I opened the articles of films that surprisingly do not pass the Bechdel test, and like that was the big picture at the top of the thing. So,
Yeah. Okay.
Finding Nemo. I'm gonna Finding Nemo. No.
There's
Correct.
one-
It does not.
Yeah.
It does not.
There's. Yeah.
2017's Beauty and the Beast with Emma Thompson. No, not Emma Thompson. Emma Watson.
Emma Watson. Very different Emma.
That would have been better, I think, though. Look, Emma Watson's wonderful, but she's not the best vocalist.
She would have to talk to a woman at the No, yes, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely yes. Mrs.
Talk
Potts.
to Mrs. Potts.
Absolutely
yeah.
yes. Plus, Emma Watson is like big into feminist standards, and I don't think she'd star in a film that does not. So yes, it does.
Yeah.
La La Land, 2016, Emma Stone, and I don't think it does. It does?
Yes, it does. She has a whole scene with her roommates where they
Nope.
talk about a party.
No, they talk about boys. They talk about meeting the guys, and
I don't know, but that whole song is about them getting seen, like getting discovered, not necessarily boys. Anyway.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I'll count.
Okay.
Sure, whatever. I saw it once. Doesn't matter.
The Social Network. 2010. I have not seen this. Jesse Eisenberg is Mark Zuckerberg.
It's very good. You should watch it. But no.
Right, timer, Fox. No, you're going with no?
I'm gonna go with no.
No is correct. No is correct.
There's several
2016's
women.
Arrival with Amy Adams.
Do we
I didn't see
count cephalopod aliens?
No?
Oh, also a very good movie. I'm gonna go with no.
No is incorrect. It does. It passes. It
Oh,
passed.
good.
Stepford
Remember the
Wives,
other-
we said yes, and it was correct. 500 Days of Summer in 2009. I haven't seen this. Is that
That's
Joseph
Faith
Gordon-Levitt and Zoe Deschanel?
Yeah,
Dang.
Faith loves it. I'm gonna go with yes.
No, it does not.
Okay,
It
fair
fails.
enough.
Grand Budapest Hotel, what do we say?
No.
That was correct. Downsizing, that's Matthew
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon, yeah.
Right? Tiny Matt Damon.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with yes. I saw half of
sure.
this movie and it
have
didn't
not-
capture me. I'm gonna go with
Yeah, I
yes.
haven't seen
Nope, it does not. Dang
it.
it.
Okay.
The
Wasn't talking-
Avengers, we said no,
No.
and we were correct. Lord of the Rings, we're right, and so I'm gonna hit no and give it to us that we are correct.
Okay,
Avatar,
sure.
we said yes. Oh, dang it! No, dang it! Oh no, we answered incorrectly. Tomb Raider, we said no. How to Train Your Dragon, we said no and we're wrong. Slumdog Millionaire. Does punching another woman count? No, I'm thinking $1 Million Baby. Dang it. They both have million in it.
I'm gonna go with no in that one.
Correct. It does not.
Yeah.
2007's Ratatouille, absolutely not. There's one female character, and that's it. There's nothing else.
Okay.
Yeah, hard no. Yeah, no, it does not.
Okay.
Imitation Game, you said no, it does not, and we're
No,
correct. Yeah,
no.
and we were correct. There it is. We got 65% of the
Ooh, passing grade.
Yeah. D's get degrees, baby. There it is, boys and girls. That is our Bechdel test quiz and how we do and do not, what does and does not pass this. Anyway, Fox, hey, what's been going on in the news, my friend?
Hey, you know what? It's time. We haven't been here in a while. We haven't visited the space in a while. We're going to go head on over to the Gamer Gear Corner.
Oh, yeah, Gamer Gear Corner.
We're going to go head over to Gamer Gear Corner for a second here because recently announced.
Part of me hoped you were going to go to the Nerdy Griffey, but fine.
Maybe next time. We've got 3 unique perfumes based on Kingdom Hearts characters.
Yes! Okay, I was listening to My Brother and Me recently. It's this week's My Brother and Me, and Richard Stink is a character in that.
I hate Richard Stink.
I also hate Richard Stink. But he did perfumes that were all like superhero characters. It's like, why?
I want to smell like Iron Man, who probably does not smell good.
Yeah, I want to smell like Batman, who I promise you it does not smell good.
Okay, so we've got 3 new perfumes coming out based on characters from Kingdom Hearts. These characters are, you're gonna know more about this. I'm gonna give you a little quiz on this one. These are based on Terra, Ventus, and Aqua.
Yep.
You know those 3.
Yes, I do.
Now here's the thing.
Do you not know those 3?
I know who they are.
Okay,
general.
thank you.
I could probably say that's who that is if you gave me a lineup of
They're
characters.
like the second most important characters behind Riku and Sora.
Whatever. But here's the thing. This is just the latest wave of perfumes in this lineup. There are 2 other groups. There have been previously released Sora, Riku, and Kairi, and then Axel, Roxas, and Xion. So there are now a total of 9 separate unique perfumes based on characters from Kingdom Hearts. And here's what we're going to do.
Kairi's is just water. It's literally nothing, and it does nothing, and it's a bottle of water.
It's an empty bottle because it has nothing. There's nothing to it. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you
the notes.
Okay. For each one of these, it has top notes, middle notes, and last notes.
How is this not our intro? I mean, mine was more appropriate, but I'm so excited for this right now.
Yeah, I know. It could have been.
Okay.
But anyway,
here we go.
So here's what I'm going to give you is just the top notes.
All 9 or just the 3?
The top 3. Just the top 3.
Okay, these 3.
Whatever the top notes are listed. And you're going to guess which of those 9 characters.
Oh, all 9 characters. Yes. Okay.
Yes. No.
Got it.
I'll give you the top notes, and then you tell me which character.
Yes.
Okay. Now we all know that this is nonsense, just like wine tasting notes. It's all nothing. It's all meaningless. It all means nothing.
Whoa!
It's just a be fancy, and it is meaningless. But we're gonna go with this, whatever they say anyway. Okay, here we go. First one on the list. First one in the quiz.
Got it.
The top notes of this scent, of this perfume, are bergamot. Whatever that is. Yuzu
one of the main scents and flavors in Earl Grey.
Okay, I don't like Earl Grey, so that makes sense. Yuzu citrus fruit and mandarin.
Okay, so we're thinking
those
like
the top notes,
bright flavors with like a little bit of like a floralness in there. That says Kairi to me. That says Kairi.
Incorrect.
Dang it!
That's obviously Ventus, you dummy.
No! I guess Ventus is a bright, happy guy. Yes, okay. Dang it. Dang it. All right.
This is nothing. Okay, let's go with let's see. Let's find the next one.
Maybe citrus is more masculine. Maybe I'll have to think of it that way.
Okay, I've got our next one here. Okay, top notes. There's 5 listed for this one. Orange,
Okay.
grapefruit, lemon,
Okay.
bergamot,
Okay.
and petit grain. It's PETITGRAIN. Petit grain.
One word?
One word.
Oh, I have no idea then. Okay,
Orange,
so it's very similar
grapefruit,
to the
lemon,
last one.
bergamot.
So I'm gonna guess that's a cologne then, which means it's got to be a guy because for whatever reason smells are gendered. So I'm gonna go with Axel. That's Axel.
You uncultured swine. That's clearly Roxas.
Oh, I was close though. They're best friends, and that's the trio. That's the trio.
They're different people, though.
No, they are best friends. They are Organization 13. Like that was close. That was close, chat. If you know Kingdom Hearts, you know that was close. That was close. Okay.
Okay. All right. Whatever you say, boss. Here's the description for some of these are a little different than the other ones, but so I'm gonna go with the description. Here we go. This fragrance has a fresh scent of bergamot. Everybody's got bergamot.
Yeah, everybody's
apparently.
Bergamonte.
Bergamot and lemon, followed by a lovely accord of peach and rose.
Ooh.
And you can also smell a crisp sweetness of vanilla and musk.
Musk. Okay, I'm sticking
Elon
with
Musk is in here.
So oh no. I'm sticking with colognes then. Musk it sounds manly to me, and without question the most masculine of those 9 is going to be Terra. So I'm going with Terra.
You don't even know anything about Kingdom Hearts. That was obviously Kairi.
Dang it! Kairi is musky?
It's because she's just put in a closet somewhere. Just like
just to
sits
sit
and
for a long
rest
time. All right.
until
Chat,
she's
I'm
needed for-
sorry, listener, if I'm getting real loud here. This is exciting though. I'm loving this.
Okay, here's what we're gonna do for the next one. I'm gonna give you the middle notes
Okay.
of this one.
Okay. The
This
middle
is, I
notes.
assume, after a few minutes, this is what you smell, I guess. I don't know how this works. It's all nonsense. Here's the middle notes. Aqua note.
If this is not
Freesia?
Aqua, I'm going to be really annoyed.
And jasmine.
Is it Aqua?
Yes.
Okay, good. Oh, thank goodness.
I had to give you one.
Yeah, thank you. And it smells of Aqua, and it's Terra.
And
So,
it's Terra.
Figure that one out.
You know, because they're in love or whatever.
They're not.
Oh, okay.
It's super, super
I,
rare.
I could not care less.
I'll kill you. I will kill you right now.
All right, I'm going to give you the top notes of this next one. This will be our last one.
Okay.
I'm going to give you
Sounds
the
good.
top notes here. You got one more. Lemon, apple, and bamboo. Who
Lemon,
smells like lemon, apple, and bamboo?
That is like the dumbest, like just most basic-y, like potpourri flavor on the planet. So that's got to be Sora.
I'm so sorry. That's Axel.
Dang, what? Apple?
It's almost as if this is meaningless and means nothing and is just to get your money for some stink water they put in a glass bottle.
Excuse me, it's stink whale vomit.
Stink gree.
Oh my gosh.
Well, anyway, those are available now. The most recent ones. Let me see. They're going for
Too much money. On a
each
scale of 1 to
item?
10,
Oh.
way too much money.
If you want to buy the entire set, it would be about $116
For all 9 of them?
for all 9,
Oh,
but
that's
you'd
not
have to
bad.
ship them from Japan. So
Yeah. Mm.
because they're
alright.
not, yeah. Anyway, so
I don't-
you don't know anything about Kingdom Hearts.
I don't use cologne or perfume for that matter.
Oh, I know.
Is it bad that I kind of want these?
Yes.
That's not a terrible price for 6 of them. Like that's less than $20
No,
a
that's
pop.
that's for 3.
Oh, for 3 of them, just for those 3.
For
Nope, never mind.
3 sets of 3. It's about 118, 120 ish.
per
plus shipping
set of 3.
per set of 3.
Yeah, nope,
-ish.
never mind. Nope, I changed my mind completely. Okay, not on to actual news and not a second intro for the day.
That was big news. There's new sense. I wanted everybody to know about it.
That doesn't make any sense.
Good one. Let's move
Anyway, this is one that G Creature shared with us. G Creature sent us an article from Forbes. YouTube's new ad blocker crackdown, what you need to know. So basically, here's what's happening is that a lot of people will have an ad blocker on their computer to, get this, block ads. And this works universally on a browser. And so you're able to, use it on whatever site that you go to help block ads from jumping in. If you go to YouTube, though, YouTube now has a like some sort of a program or software or whatever that will detect your ad blocker, and a pop-up will jump up saying, hey, we need to show you ads, so either take down your ad blocker or subscribe to YouTube Premium, where there are no ads anyway. Here's the link to go to YouTube Premium.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are kind of doing the whole like, okay, this is clearly their money grab. They really just want to grab the cash or whatnot. But this is something that, again, we might spend too much time on this as well, because I was thinking to myself, this actually doesn't frustrate or annoy me as much. And maybe that's because I don't have an ad blocker, and so I haven't gotten used to it. But when I think about it, as somebody who has been a YouTuber before, YouTubers make revenue off of the ads, depending on how many people follow the links, depending on how many people watch the whole ad, depending on whatever else. There's like a lot of different things on the ads that in which they make money from it. On top of this, YouTube itself is a platform that has human beings that work for it and help create it. And those human beings need to earn money, and therefore YouTube needs to earn money to give those human beings money. And ads are the way that YouTube does that.
Yeah.
And
yeah, here's the thing about, here's my response to it being a money grab. YouTube is the money grab.
Right. It's
like if I went into Walmart and they said, hey, buy this thing. And I said, hey, Walmart, why are you trying to make me buy stuff? You're money grab. It's just, obviously they platform different products, but YouTube itself is a way to make money by hosting videos and supporting their function through ads before and after and in the middle of those videos. So yeah, when I got that pop-up, I was just like, yeah, okay, and I just let it pass. Now I watch ads on my computer again.
Oh, do you run an ad blocker?
Yes.
Yeah.
And now I have to watch ads on there. Okay.
Yeah,
it's not the biggest deal in the world.
For me, the most single chunk of time that you will ever have to watch an ad is 30 seconds. Very rarely you'll get like an unskippable 1-minute ad and just hit refresh. And then you'll refresh and it will come up with a different ad that is not an unskippable 1 minute or whatever else. And so to me, it's 30 seconds of my time that is not important. And often 30 seconds is uncommon. It's usually 10 seconds, 5 seconds skip, 5 seconds skip, and that's it.
Yeah.
And so this was something to me that it makes sense that they're frustrated that people are trying to block even the 5 seconds of ads that they already allow you to skip, because I get why people are frustrated by it. They have an ad blocker that they subscribe to or they use, and they're saying, no, you can't use it. But at the same time, that's how YouTube makes money. And so, yeah. Anyway, just an interesting thing, and we'll see. I'm not gonna I'm gonna say we'll see what they do about it. Nothing. This is, I'm sure this is a hard thing that they're coming down on, saying, hey, this is the future. Where else are you going to go to watch all this content? Because guess what? There isn't anywhere else.
Yeah. What are you going to do? Not use YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Have fun with that.
Have fun at something else.
All right. Hey, that's all I got. Fox, that's all you got?
Oh, yeah.
Should we get down to the nerdy gritty?
Sure.
So a few months back, and we talked about this actually, this was coinciding with the Last of Us TV show. Rainn Wilson tweeted that he thinks that there is an anti-Christian bias in Hollywood because the moment that a character in Last of Us pulled out a Bible, he's like, I knew he was bad. I knew he was evil.
That's clearly going to be a villain.
And then not only was he a villain, he was a pedophile cannibal. Like,
Yes.
just, I mean, like
maybe the worst, like in every way, extremely villainous.
Yes, like horrific. And so it's kind of showed this whole thing where we're like, okay, well then, are there any? And so then I was watching something else recently that I can't remember. Oh, Haunted Mansion, which I will talk about later. And but so little, just to talk about that, is there's a character in that who is a priest, and the entire time he's a priest, he's the worst. And he's obnoxious, and he's clearly conning people and clearly dishonest. And then he finally comes out and says, I'm not a priest. I've actually been lying this whole time. And then he gets his redemption arc. And it hit me that, like, while he was a Christian, he was the worst. And the moment that he said, I'm not a Christian, then he became good. And I'm like,
that was his redemption.
Yeah, that was his redemption, is saying he is not a person of faith. And I'm just like, wow, that one was kind of blatant. Like, that one's kind of rough. And so I had this thought, and I sent Fox a message at that point and said to myself, we should make something like the Bechdel test for Christians, where it's, I called it the Wilson test, because Rainn Wilson was the first one to really tweet this out and to kind of get this thought out there, where it was just like, real base, how do you write a not cliche Christian? What is the real base, like, depiction of this? And so first of all, like, because this, if we want to make it as simple as possible, we won't have to talk too much about it. But first of all, I do want to say, do you think that this is necessary, is not the right word, but useful? Do you think that this is useful? Why or why not? Like, why are we doing this? Why do you think this is something we should be talking about?
We often talk about, even on the podcast and personally, we talk about just like our desire for more fiction, more movies, more whatever that talk about Christianity, are in the realm of Christianity, but are all, we want them to be good and fun, with like fun and like interesting, an interesting story and interesting characters to be the priority over a Christian message, you know, quote unquote Christian message. And so we often talk about like God's Not Dead, those types of movies, in a way that's like, well, sure, they have a, I guess one could call a Christian message, but they clearly come off as more interested in the Christian message than actual characters who are interesting and unique and propagandistic. Exactly.
Yeah.
And we talk about things like Book of Eli in positive terms, where clearly there's a story there. Somebody had a vision for a story, and then like it has Christian themes and ideas within it. It's not necessarily, you know, exactly what you would expect from that kind of thing. It's very violent, it's very dark, but it still has those themes, and it's, oh cool, they took the ideas and used them in a way that clearly they had a story they wanted to tell. And this is why I think it'd be fun to create this little test, is because really I'm more interested in people who want to use Christian themes and Christian characters. I want them to put more effort into it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want it to be a mirror. And oftentimes I'm more talking about people who are Christians. I want them to get away from propaganda more than I care about non-Christian, non-outwardly Christian, non-publicly Christian, or whatever, screenwriters or whatever, using the stereotype. Like, I think they're both equally important. At the very least, they're equally important. And so I would like to create something that's kind of a mirror. Hey, everybody can do better. Let's think about how we do this better.
Yeah, for me, I mean, everything you say, I wholeheartedly agree with. But on top of this, I just want to say that, again, you and I talk about, both in person and on the podcast often, that we appreciate art that avoids tropes.
Yes.
Like, just like that very simple base thing, art that avoids tropes is good. Women that talk to each other about something other than men. That's not hard. It's so easy to do.
That is real life.
Yes. And so being able to do that, it's, again, we talk about this a lot. It's why we don't get annoyed with fiction that includes LGBTQ representation, because it's also real life. The LGBTQ
Yes.
exists in the world, and trying to specifically say, I'm going to make movies or TV shows that doesn't have that stuff in it. It's like, well, then you're falling prey to a trope that doesn't depict real life. And now all of a sudden your show's not believable anymore. And when you continually fall into this trope of Christians bad, Christians manipulative, like I understand that.
Or Christians only good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Or Christians, yeah, propagandistic,
And
only
angelic.
good. Angelic, that's a good way to put it. Mary Sue. Let's say Mary Jane. That ain't it, but
Well, yeah. Either
but
way,
yeah. So, but just to have this mindset of these are the only ways to depict them. Avoid tropes, right? Nuanced characters that have believable motivations in believable worlds, and that makes your whole fiction or your whole story so much more enjoyable and such a better piece of art. And so to be able to start pointing out, hang on, this is such a clear and obnoxious trope. Why have we not pointed this out and started to get over it yet? Why aren't we starting to say something about it? And so, yeah, that was kind of my hope when I mentioned this to you at first, we should make the Wilson test. And you're like, no, we should actually do this on the podcast. I was like, yes, this is a good idea, because I think it is something that hopefully will help for the tens of people that listen to our podcast, may help them write more nuanced
there are
fiction.
dozens of us. Except there might not be.
There might not even be dozens of us, but still. So, okay. Let's get into then the actual test itself, because here was my first pitch to you, and it clearly needed some work. In fact, maybe I'll just read it verbatim. No, it's we talk too much, so I'm not going to go back through our chat. But my basic first pitch to you was, do you have somebody that openly professes, like openly states that they are a person of faith within the Christian realm? Catholic, Baptist, Christian, whatever. They use one of those words that openly professes that they are a person of Christian faith.
Yeah.
And
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah. And is that person not in any sort of opposition to your protagonist? That was my baseline right there, my simplest. And so what do you think about that? Do we need more than that?
No, I like the approach. Let's talk about why we want to include those things. I like the approach because it needs to be a character who is clear. Like, I mean, just like the Bechdel test, there's always going to be nuance. There are some movies that you would clearly see as a work of feminist art that might not technically pass the Bechdel test.
Right.
Who knows? So in this, like, there's always going to be cases where it's like, oh, okay, yeah, technically that counts. But for the vast majority, I think it is important that we clearly know that a character is a Christian. That somebody talking about God is not necessarily the same thing.
Right.
Does not count, or somebody saying I went to church or having some kind of Christian-esque moral code.
Because you could count
not the same.
At that point, you could count like Constantine, in which John Constantine constantly talks about God and that he believes in him.
Yes.
You don't like him. He just like he's pretty upset with him, but he is clearly, I mean, he's literally in that James 2, knowing and not believing thing. Like he knows that God exists. And so, but that's not what we're talking about. He would not.
He never claims to be a follower of God.
Right.
And I think that is in any organized way. I guess that's what we're looking for, is a adherent to some kind of organized denomination of Christianity, or non-denominational if you want to get specific. But because it's important, like because oftentimes when people are clearly shown, I'm a pastor at this church, which we would count in this case, I guess, that's a signal of evil, or when they hold up the Christian Bible, as Rainn Wilson said, that's an evil person right there. And so we need to, it's often used as a clear, like, signal of evil a lot of times.
Right.
And so we need to include that if we are going to create a test in this realm.
I'm going to get off on the tangent that we've already gotten off on like 10 times here, but like it's such an obnoxious and old trope of this is a thing that is typically portrays innocence, but now we're portraying it for evil.
Whoa. Isn't he
Groundbreaking. Whoa.
supposed to be a good person?
Right. Whoa. How groundbreaking are we? Anyway, sorry. But so yeah, so that right. So the first part would be this in some sort of way open profession. Do we count somebody that just says I'm a priest, I'm a pastor, something like that? Or do they need to
Um,
say like I am a Christian, I am a
well, I think
Baptist?
I do think, I mean, I think it does really depend because, like, okay, let's bring up an example. Can we talk about Shepherd Book from Firefly? Does
Right.
that count?
I
Because
would say yes, wholeheartedly yes.
he calls himself a shepherd, which is like the pastor
Pastor
equivalent.
equivalent, literal pastor equivalent.
He specifically has the Bible. At one point, I think he talks about, he says the name Jesus, I think, if I remember correctly, or something
Maybe.
similar,
I don't remember,
something
but I
specific.
do know that when River is looking through the book, she specifically is like quoting from the Bible, like the actual
Yes.
Christian Bible. So yeah.
Right, right. And so, but I don't know if he ever says he's a Christian. Does he?
No.
No.
Not that I know of at
So,
least.
yeah, so I think it's part of it. I think having being a profession of a pastor or a priest or whatever version, I think that would count.
You think Shepherd Book would count? Yes.
I think yes. What I'm
Yes.
saying back to your question
Because he
is
says shepherd.
because he's a shepherd. Well, in that case, a shepherd could be other things. It's not really one we use
Right.
today, but he does specifically have the Bible. Once again, you're going to have to take a look at the work as a whole
Yeah.
to get an idea of, like, take all the data into account. But I do think when if somebody comes in and says, I'm a pastor at this church, even if they never say I'm a, Baptist or whatever more specific, I think we could probably assume that you're part of that profession because of your faith and
Yeah.
not just this is what I am doing right now.
Okay. So, I guess you're right. I guess it's better to go broader and just say if you profess to be a believer or a leader in some sort of tradition. So priest, pastor, shepherd, whatever else, we do count those things. I know that just opens it up to a lot more, but that's kind of the point then, isn't it? Like,
Well, yeah, the Allison Bechdel's test is not hard to
yes,
pass.
I guess that's true. Are you female? Do you identify as a
Are there
female?
two of you and you talk about literally anything except men? Have a,
So,
like, it's just so broad and it still fails so much.
okay. So no, I like it. Okay. So our very baseline, we're just going to say, does your character profess to be a Christian or leader of Christian faith in some way?
Yes. Or we can just say, I mean, obviously we don't want it to be such a complicated question, but in that we can assume that if you are in the profession of church leadership, then it counts. Then it's, that you have that faith.
Simplify the question. Can we safely assume that your character adheres to the Christian faith?
Sure. Let's go with that.
Boom. Cool. So I think the safely assume part will make it good because there are some people who think, well, maybe, sort of, kind of. Well, if you think of them this way, and so, but if you can just say, you know what? No, it's pretty obvious. We're pretty, like Shepherd Book is the great example there. Like, you know what? He never says he is a Christian. It's pretty obvious though. We can safely
Right.
assume that by, the fact that he quotes the Bible and talks about God and faith and whatnot. So yeah.
And sure. So then the other part of your proposed question
Mm-hmm.
was, are you in, how did you put it? In
I say, are you
opposition?
anywhere, opposed to the antagonist? Are you in any way in opposition to the antagonist?
And you're saying
Or sorry,
that as
protagonist,
in
in opposition to the
protagonist.
protagonist. To the protagonist, yeah.
So if they say yes, would that be fail?
That
Let's
fails it.
clarify.
If you say
So they
yes,
fail.
that fails it. So if you are in any way in opposition to the protagonist, you have failed.
I actually don't know if that would work.
Okay.
Because I do think that somebody who is a Christian could be in opposition to something the supposed protagonist wants to do and still be a well-written Christian character.
Okay.
Like that just
Okay. Oh, no, no.
basically
So
that just deifies the protagonist.
yeah, that's a good point. So let's say it's John Wick and he happens to go to a church and the guy says, don't go on a murder spree, John Wick. That's a bad idea. Hey, I
I
don't like
think
your murder sprees.
I mean,
That's a good
let's
point.
use one that actually exists. Let's use Daredevil. Matt Murdock often
Gosh.
goes to a Catholic priest for to talk about his conscience, to confess, to do all the Catholic things. And I mean, sometimes the Catholic priest implies what you're doing is not always wrong, but most of the time, I would say the Catholic priest says you don't have to do this.
Yeah.
And obviously throughout the history of the character of Daredevil, you have you have the shows and stuff that will always portray it differently. But yes, you have a Catholic priest who's going to hopefully advise this, you know, guy who runs out at night and just beats the living crap out of people that there might be a non-violent way.
Yeah.
That
A
kind
more
of
nuanced way to approach this.
sure, even if he might agree with the ultimate motivation of the main character, he would still technically be in opposition.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Good point.
so I don't know
Good
if
point.
that's the best way to phrase
Yeah.
the
No,
you
you're
pass
absolutely
or
right.
fail.
You're absolutely right. So then how do we, because we can't say does bad things. That's going to be an entirely subjective, but we
Well,
also
it's going
know,
to be subjective either way.
can we just say the word antagonist then? Because we would not call the priest in Daredevil an antagonist. We would not call the
No.
nun in season 3 an antagonist.
So, okay, so let's talk about what our ultimate goal is in answering this question. That might help us phrase the question. What we are looking for is Christian characters who are well written.
Yes, who are neither evil nor propagandistic. That's what I would say.
Right, who are not at the extremes of the how they've been portrayed
Right.
in the past.
And I think instead of the 2 questions that the Bechdel test has, we'll have to have 3 questions. But I think 3 questions
Okay.
is still going to be very easy.
Still fair enough.
Yeah, still
Yes.
very, very simple. So,
Okay. So, well, number one, does your movie, let's just go with a movie. Does your movie, does your work, does your whatever
fiction.
text portray a character that it can how do we put it? Safely assume to be a Christian.
Yes. That's question 1. Does your
Okay.
work have a character that we can safely assume to be a Christian?
Do we need that character to be a main character?
I would say no.
No.
If
Okay.
if at some point, again, trying to think of a fiction where this would work,
Okay.
if in some point there was in Star Wars, sure, why not? Uh,
I've
you
come
know,
to preach space Jesus.
yeah, they walk by a church, and in the background, you just see somebody of faith handing food to the poor and giving money to those who need it. Awesome. You did it. I think that's great. Right there. You did it,
It's not nothing. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So then does this
Like
I
Rocky.
think
I would say Rocky and Rocky 2 pass this test. Because in Rocky and Rocky 2, there's that priest that he'll just walk up to the window of the church, shout out, and the priest will throw open the door and give Rocky a blessing and say, I love you, and send him on his way.
sure.
And I love that.
Right.
That's great.
He's
Yeah.
just there. He's positive. He's helpful for the character.
Yeah.
So I think the two things we need to approach now are, does that character portray, this is going to be a hard one, but like, I guess maybe orthodox is such a landmine of a term, but
Yeah.
traditional, again, another landmine term,
Evangelical. That
typical-
one's fine.
typical, I guess, Christian values. This is
Even
this
that
is
word
gonna be
that phrase Christian values is rough.
100%. This is okay, then let's actually take that out of it. Portray a value system that reflects Jesus.
Okay. Yeah.
See, this is what I'm saying. It's always going to be subjective.
Mm-hmm.
Always going to be subjective because everybody and their mother has interpreted Christianity, in a way.
Which we have found out the Bechdel test can also be subjective because the conversation between Eowyn and that girl was not enough for that thing to think it passed.
Right. Right.
And or the song in La La Land was not enough for it to pass because it was the song
Right.
or whatever reason. So yeah, that's going to be a subjective thing there. So yeah, sure, we can still be a little subjective here.
Sure. Okay. So rather than use landmine, hot button topic phrases, just say, does your character, because a
Portray the
person can
biblical
claim to,
Jesus. Did your character
per-
represent the biblical Jesus?
yeah, because a character can claim to be a Christian and then have nothing to do with, you know, they just, can say they're a Christian, then it has nothing to do with anything, or
Mm,
just go on to, you know,
okay, so what? Give me an example of that then. So you're
let's
saying
talk.
they
Let's talk
say
about the
they're a
past.
Christian. Go ahead.
Let's talk about the pastor in Last of Us.
Right.
They clearly state that they're a Christian. They're preaching from the Bible to a group of people and might even preach words of Jesus. I forget exactly what passages they used. If they
Right.
weren't the Old Testament, that'd be surprising. But and then everything they do, sure, they might have a justification for it, but nothing they do reflects the actual life of Christ.
But that's the
was
test we're trying to measure here, though. Like, I don't think we need to state that in the test because that's the measurement. So we say,
Well, sure, that's how the test. Yeah, that's what we're saying. The test needs to say that, are they a Christian and do they reflect Jesus?
okay. Oh, I see what you're saying. So it does. Okay, that to clarify
they
the
state to-
antagonist or opposition to the protagonist. I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yes.
So. Okay, yeah, no, I like that. Do they reflect the biblical Jesus? I would say because a lot of people
Yes.
have opinions of Jesus that are not.
Sure.
I once had my cousin come to me and be like, "Man, I had a talk with a guy the other day, and he was just telling me that like the reason Jesus and his disciples were so chill is because they just smoked pot all the time. Like they were just high all the time, and like it just explains that for me, man." And I'm like, super no, dude. Like,
That's the wrongest anybody has ever been.
So the biblical Jesus would be the portrayal here. So yeah, okay. So question number 1, is your character or can we safely assume your character is a believer or a practicing Christian? Can we safely
Ultimately what we're trying to do is, does your text portray a character that can be safely assumed as Christian?
Yes.
Because we're saying that, whatever movie passes, not just the character.
Right. And then 2, does your character represent someone who's trying to follow the biblical Jesus?
Yes. And the difference between those is their stated beliefs and their action. That's why there's a difference there. Is they can say to be one thing, but how they act should also reflect. It should be, as to put it how Paul would put it, it should be, I'll show you by my faith by my works.
Right.
It's the fruit of the Spirit versus just saying something right. So those would be, do we need more than that?
Well, because then we need to address the propagandistic side of things.
Okay, it's a good point.
Because God's Not Dead hits that easy.
That's a good point.
Fireproof hits that easy. And if we want to create nuanced characters, we could then say
a third question would have to talk about character writing, like specifically like the complexity, I guess.
No, because you already made the point. This is not a character test. This is a film test. And so we could say,
that's a good point. Yeah.
This would be, maybe again, this is all subjective anyway, but does your film have a clearly faith-based message? Is that?
Oh, okay. Hold on. Maybe to put it in yes, I get where you're going.
Yeah.
We do need to recognize we are not trying to claim that the movie is good or bad because of these characters.
Lord of the Rings are spectacular films, and the first and third one, even by our standards, don't pass that test.
Right. The Bechdel test, yeah. Even if a movie does pass the Bechdel test, it doesn't mean it's a good movie. It's clearly just trying to talk about, gender equality in the writing.
Right.
So we could stop here and say, well, yes, technically, God's Not Dead passes this test, but it doesn't mean it's good. But it does technically pass, which is where I think the Bechdel test does stop.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's not trying to make a judgment on the quality of the film, just whether or not it's got the, the other things present.
So,
But
I
I
mean,
would, yeah, we could stop here. I would like to go a little farther though.
let's go a little farther because you have a hard stop of noon, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, so we can go a little farther, but I am also okay with
hard
just
stop of
stopping
when my
here.
son wakes up, which is probably going to be in a half an hour, 15 minutes sometime.
Yeah, but I think we could stop here because even if we say, let's pretend there's a movie that misogynizes women and is all about how women should be subjected. Let's pretend it's basically the Handmaid's Tale. I bet you Handmaid's Tale passes the Bechdel test, but it's all about the subjectification of women, and
Well, yeah,
so
the difference there is that the show does not portray that as a good thing.
right. But so let's say it was a show that portrayed it as a good thing, but if it passes the Bechdel test, it still passes. Maybe it
Right.
completely goes against the purpose of the Bechdel test, but it
But
still
still technically
passes it.
passes.
And there's no measurement in that way. So I think I agree with you. I'm beginning to change my mind. I think you could be right that this would be a safe place to stop. But if we didn't, if we wanted to go a little more, I say we put a cap on that. That is the Wilson test, or
That's the test.
that is
I'll
that is
call
the
it the
test.
Wilson test, but only if it's about Wilson, the neighbor from Home Improvement.
No, it's about Wilson the volleyball in.
About Brian Wilson, the singer of the Beach Boys.
Yes. So whatever we need to name this too. But what little? How would you add the caveats if you wanted to add the caveats?
I think the third one to kind of further clarify could be something to the effect of, does this character's faith represent the theme of the no, that's see represent the theme of the text or something,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like trying to get at the idea of, well, is this, that's, yes, they pass, but that's what the movie's about. If they didn't pass, there wouldn't be a movie. like but
So
like
maybe we just don't then. I think we just don't. I think we say
yeah,
that's the
because
test and
again,
Fireproof passes and it's just not a great film and that's fine.
because here's the thing, even if we stop with those two questions, there's, I would say, most things that I've seen that portray Christian people do not pass. Now, so I mean, it's equal to the Bechdel test, where it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, sure, it still might, or it still doesn't even, it doesn't even clear such a low bar.
And I will say
Okay,
that unlike the Bechdel test, this test, if your first question, does it portray a woman? No, you have failed the Bechdel test.
yes,
There's no women in your. It doesn't portray. It doesn't portray a Christian. No, fine. You are not subject to the test then.
well, that's the difference. Yeah, is that there? I mean, there are going to be examples of stories where women aren't going to be involved, and it's not a slight against them. It's just whatever particular,
Right.
you know, instance of the movie, whatever the scenario is, there's just no women there. Um, so yeah, let's make that caveat that just because you don't include a woman, it's why we don't. Your movie doesn't have to have a Christian in it.
Exactly.
You only are subject to the test if you enter into the realm of
Yep.
Christianity. Yeah.
And
Okay.
so I
Cool.
think that is a solid caveat there. That this is not a failure if the first answer is no. This is you are not subject to the test if the first answer is no.
Mad Max does not fail the Wilson test.
Right. Because there are no
It
depictions in
never
any way.
entered the building to take the
Right.
test.
Star Wars does not fail the test. Yeah. So I think we just, that's it, man. We go with, do you have a character that we can safely assume is a practicing Christian? If the answer is yes, you are now subject to the test. If the answer is no,
Sure.
fine, whatever. Number two, does your character properly portray the biblical Jesus?
Right. And obviously the weak point of this is, well, that's going to be subject to whoever is doing the test, whoever is
Right.
administering the test, their understanding. Because if somebody has a real horrible misunderstanding of who Jesus was, they could say no, even if it is an absolute pass. You
Right,
know,
right.
if your experience is Jesus was a taskmaster, you know, I'll kill you if you know you go to hell if you don't, you know, what kind of,
Right,
you know.
right.
And so obviously that's the weakness is it's going to be subject, but that is a little true for the Bechdel test. You
Yeah,
know, to use two towers again, like does that constitute a conversation? Does one person asking a question and the other person answering constitute and then stopping? Does that constitute a conversation? I would say so. It's just real brief.
yeah.
It's
So,
two people talking to each other.
yep. And because I don't think this purpose is to really, really justify exactly what it means. I think this is to point out the amount of things that will fail this test.
Yeah.
That's all it is. That's the point of the Bechdel test as well. It's not to get into the nuance of what passes. It's to
Yeah.
point out the absolutely glaring amount of failures. And I think that that should be also the purpose of this test is just to point out the absolutely glaring amount of failures to this test.
Yes, I would rather have
yeah,
zero movies with Christians in them if they're just going to be terrible
yeah,
depictions.
yeah,
I'd rather have zero rather than, you know, than nothing but tropes or lazy writing.
yeah.
And so if you don't want to fail the test, don't even enter the realm, you know?
Okay. Real quick, do we name it the Wilson test? Yes or no?
I mean, I'm sure this question has been asked before. He's just a high profile. Also, he didn't come up with this, so I mean, we could call it the nerdy gritty test, but that's
The
a little
Val
weird.
I mean, it's like the Bechdel something test is
The
what it's called.
Bechdel,
So we could call it the
I don't-
Valdez Fox test or the Fox Valdez
Bechdel
test.
Wallace test.
Yeah, the Bechdel
I
Wallace
did look
test.
at. There are other versions of this for different things. The only one that I could find was religiously based. It was for Orthodox Judaism. Um, but yeah, I don't. Are we going to publish our work here? What
Heck
is?
yes, we are. Heck yes, we are.
I mean, this could be an article.
No, no, I like it. The nerdy gritty test. The nerdy gritty test.
Sure. If we publish an article about it, we'll come up with something different. But
Right.
This is the
For now, for the TikToks later and whatnot that everybody posts about this show
constantly.
this is the nerdy gritty test. Does your fiction have somebody that we can safely assume is a practicing Christian? And does that person properly portray the biblical Jesus? That's it. That's it.
Simple enough.
And it's simple enough. And if the answer to the first question is no, then you are not subject to the nerdy gritty test. You pass by default. But if the answer of question 1 is yes, then the question 2 comes in, and there's a shocking amount of films in which the answer is no.
Okay. Based on our test, what are some movies or whatever what passes now? What do we determine passes?
One that somebody put in the chat, reminder, we stream these live, is Robin Hood, the animated classic Robin Hood. The Disney classic. Friar Tuck is always talking about how we need to support the poor, how the fact that they're trying to steal money is not something that, is good, that represents who God is. Like, it's actually really, really cool. He does a great job portraying faith-based and wanting to serve those in need really, really well.
Okay. Does Shepherd Book pass our test? He
Yeah,
does
100%.
shoot some dudes in the kneecaps.
But he gives reasoning for it. Like, he even talks about it.
Gives reason for it.
Let's be clear, nobody's going to be perfect.
Yeah, that's fair.
Nobody is going to, because that's the whole point, right? Like, of Christianity is none of us are perfect. And so I think Shepherd Book passes the test.
Do you ever watch Kim's Convenience? There's a pastor in Kim's Convenience. It's the Pastor Nina of the church that the Kim family goes to. She's I think would fall under this. She's a great character.
But for me, the like blink lights, point arrows, bring tears to my eyes often character that passes this test as the standard, not just flying colors. The standard is Michael Shepard from. Michael Carpenter. Michael Shepard's a friend of mine. Michael Carpenter from the Harry Dresden series.
Oh,
Michael Carpenter from the Harry Dresden series, or from the Dresden Files series, is somebody who fights the spiritual powers of evil, vampires, and all these ghouls and ghosts, and the things that are real in the Dresden Files world, but he is always trying to be positive, always talking about who Jesus is and how God, is trying to help people, always trying to act in a positive way. Sometimes he struggles. He gets into like points of anger. And there's one point, a short story in which somebody kidnaps his daughter and he wants to beat the guy to death with a baseball bat. And Dresden has to be the one to step in and be like, hey, this is not you. Like, don't do this. But overall, Michael Carpenter is just like, this incredible portrayal of a Christian man in a physical or spiritually active, vampires fictional world. So Michael Carpenter is my, again, lights, arrows, everybody point at this guy, passes this test.
I'm gonna go with Ernst Toller in everybody's favorite movie, First Reformed.
Oh yes. The one that everybody watched for sure.
Everybody knows this Paul Schrader movie. Yeah, it's a good version of this where it's, I think he does, but also he's a very complex character who makes some decisions that don't necessarily fall under, like, that's continually going to be the hard part of this test is, well, he made this decision. Yeah, I mean, the hard part about this is that a core tenet of Christianity is failure and repentance. A core tenet is forgiveness, meaning that if you do something that is, by Jesus' standards, by biblical standards, by New Testament standards, clearly sinful, but repent and try to do better, like, if you do something sinful, you are not necessarily not a Christian. You aren't a Christian. That's not the thing that knocks you out of Christianity. You have to choose to no longer be actively following. So, like that. Anyway, Ernst Toller is an excellently written pastor who makes some decisions that you would say are probably not what Jesus would do or would preach, but he's just got such a, man, I need to watch that movie again. It's so good.
I should watch it at all. Okay.
Yes.
There you go, guys. The Nerdy Gritty test. We'll post it on the we'll post it on our Discord. We have a Discord, by the way, if you want to be a part of that. Jump into our chat sometime. We share the Discord channel link there fairly often. So okay, with that all being said though, hey Fox, what have you been up to, my friend?
What have I been up to? Just trying to think of. We so both of us, you're way close to the end. I've only done like an hour's worth, but Lies of P. I played a little bit of Lies of P, and it's right in that realm of, it's not my kind of game, but I really appreciate the craftsmanship. You and I talked a little bit before about how there's some quality of life improvements in this over Dark Souls, which isn't really improvements because it's completely different companies, but it's, to me, this is going to be an honorary FromSoft game. Like, I would not be shocked if it's included in, like, I went through all the From Software games and never took damage, and also Lies of P, because it's so similar, but also still follows that, like I would say it's an extremely good homage.
Very clear homage.
Yeah, it's like how Star Trek fans consider Galaxy Quest an actual Star Trek movie.
I love it.
Because it's such a love letter to it.
Yeah, it really is.
So anyway, it's really fun. I probably won't go through the whole game. I just wanted to get a taste of it and see what it's like. And there are some parts of it that I'm like, I wish Dark Souls did this. I would play more Dark Souls games if they had a few of these these quality of life improvements, in my opinion. But anyway, it's very good, and I can see why there's such hype. Yeah.
And I will say that when we talked about it last, I said I was struggling with the parry mechanic, and I've gotten used to it, and the game feels so good with it now. Like, getting that timing down, and like when you get an enemy that has like 3 or 4 attacks in a row, but now you've kind of read that down, and you're like parry, 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 parry. Then you hit them with a heavy attack, and then all of a sudden that like stuns them, and you go in for a fatal attack. And like, it feels you feel like a ninja. Like, it feels incredible. But
yeah, it's basically what if Dark Souls also included the Sekiro.
Yeah, parry mechanic, right?
Parry mechanic, yeah.
But all in all, and more Bloodborne than Dark Souls, because there's no. I mean, I guess there's some blocking in this, but it's not a very.
I guess that's true.
Yeah, but but I will also say that the quality of life things are great, and they make it much more difficulty wise accessible. But if you don't want that, if you like the difficulty balance, I get balance is not the right word, but like the difficulty challenge of FromSoft games, this might feel a little too easy for you because there are a lot of things that they do definitely lax on a little bit. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I watched Haunted Mansion. I talked about this a little bit more.
Yeah.
The most recent Disney movie, and it is very good. I really enjoyed it. I think it is the perfect, like sort of like a great comparison is going to be Hocus Pocus. It is a perfect watch it at home with the lights off and popcorn and just enjoy a spoopy movie for funsies.
It's a spoopy movie.
It's very spoopy, yes, but it's so much fun. It's so good. I will say the first like 3/4, 2/3 of the movie was like an 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 film for me. So good. Once we start getting into the final act, it gets kind of predictable and silly and more silly, like sillier than it needs to be. And again, it tries to take itself too seriously eventually. And when you try and take yourself seriously after you've spent 2 acts of a film just being goofy and having fun, you don't take it seriously and it doesn't feel as natural as good anymore. So that and it didn't have a great landing for me, but dude, especially act 1, especially just building that tension and like getting all the characters in, 9 out of 10. So much fun. So good. Well worth the watch. I highly recommend Haunted Mansion. Yeah. Great movie.
I am halfway through the second episode of The Continental.
Oh yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
the John Wick spin-off show on Peacock Plus. It's or Peacock or whatever it's called. It's set in the 70s. In John Wick, the manager of the Continental, the hotel for hitmen, is what's his name? Winston Scott. This movie takes place before he
Rip Lance Reddick, by the way.
yes, before Winston even has anything to do, like he is not part of this. He is living in like England or whatever.
Yeah.
And so the main story is him coming back to America due to his brother getting involved in things. Don't need to spoil it. I wouldn't recommend it, actually.
Okay.
I think it makes a pretty big mistake by like it's John Wick has set a pretty specific tone and some rules about its universe that you know it's
half
they're
the population
goofy,
are assassins.
exactly, it's goofy, but if you accept it going in, like if you accept it, then it's like, okay, this is just true for this universe.
Yeah.
Don't think about the reality of it, and then it's like, okay, cool. Then we can expect certain things and not. This does not do that. For a show called the Continental Hotel has very little to do with the actual show. You spend 5% of the time there. It's basically a revenge movie. Some of the main characters are cops, which is weird because for all intents and purposes, law enforcement doesn't exist in John Wick. You have one joke at the beginning of John Wick about a cop showing up, seeing dead bodies, but knowing John Wick and then just not caring at all. Like that's the joke. That is
see you
the
later.
Signal. That is the signal that cops don't really exist in this. This is a world of hitmen, and that's about it. But two of the main characters are like one of the main plot threads of this show is about a cop, and the rest of it is just about people. Like it just does not. I'm okay with it not being the same structure as a John Wick movie. I'm okay with being a spin-off about other characters. That sounds great, but this just does not. It honestly feels like a script that was reworked to be a John Wick spin-off.
I was going to ask that exact question.
It feels like, okay, we have like we're going to get revenge on this person and they have like a fortress and we're going to go try to take them down. Oh, well, instead of castle, it's hotel. And instead of, main character being Bill de Blasio, that's a person, but it's going to be Winston Scott, and they're gonna, just let's check out the names, put the other names in there, and it doesn't really have the same feeling. It also doesn't have the slick kind of visuals of John Wick, the very neon, very like crisp, high resolution. It very much tries to be a 70s like gritty kind of crime thriller, which is a fine thing, but it just again makes
Doesn't fit.
it doesn't really fit. I don't know. I'm disappointed in it. I'm hoping that like the ballerina movie that they're working on as another spin-off is more back in the realm. And so it just feels like, even though it's a prequel, I understand that. It feels like so much has been set up in this universe through the 4 movies that are just completely ignored, and in favor for something that just kind of feels shoved into, oh, it's John Wick related. Anyway, disappointing. I probably won't even finish it because it just has not impressed me.
Did you see Hotel Artemis with Jodie Foster?
Yeah.
You did watch that?
Mhm.
Good. I was going to say, if you hadn't, I was going to tell you, watch it and just imagine it's in the world of John Wick.
Wicky.
Yeah.
And that felt more John Wicky than this, where it's like, let's be about the people. Yes, I agree. I forgot about that movie, but yeah, it felt more John Wick than this movie does.
Yeah.
Or this show does.
I was going to say, it's a 7 out of 10 movie that if you stop and pretend it's in the world of John Wick, it elevates it to like an 8 out of 10 movie, I think. So
you could say the same about like Bullet Train that came out last year.
Yeah.
I'd say the same about Bullet Train.
Bullet Train was fun.
Yeah.
Okay, I watched season 2 of Wheel of Time. It just ended, and the Wheel of Time series is, if you guys don't know, it's high fantasy based on Robert Jordan's
the highest of high fantasy.
Yeah, massive book. But this, I've been talking to Wheel of Time fans, and they complain in the same way Lord of the Rings fans complain, where they say this didn't actually happen, that they got that part wrong, things are out of order. But man, it's good. But man, I really liked it. Like, man, I'm really enjoying watching it. I guess it takes this distillation of the series. I haven't read the books. I read book 1 and decided I can't do it. So
fair enough.
But I guess it takes a distillation of the series, and then
it has to. It
has to, or it's going to be 10 years for book 1.
It just would be bad.
And then reorder some of it to help it make more sense overall, and then gives you that. And it's very good. It's really interesting. You start in season 1, you start falling in love with these characters as like, oh, these tough kids that are from like this small town, and man, they're being put through so much challenge. In season 2, now you're like, these are men and women that have been put through hell and are stronger or angrier or worse, or in some way like rough changed for it. And it does a really good job of like this story arc, and you like seeing where these people are and it feeling natural, but them being completely different human beings than they were at the beginning of season 1. And so it's really well done. Watch the whole season 1 and 2. Watch the whole thing. It's really good.
Well, honestly, that's all I've got.
Oh, then I got one more real quick. My wife and I played a new board game last night called Botanic, Botanik. This is, in fact, this is one thing I always forget to do with games is make sure I let people know who made it. So Botanic, developed by Frank Crichton, Georges Lage, Sebastien Pachot, French dude, Space Cowboys. There it is. Space Cowboys is the publisher. But it is, the whole premise is that you are a scientist who is now, it's a future in which plants stopped growing naturally, and a scientist developed a way for machines to grow plants. And so you are now helping this scientist make these machines to grow plants. It's tile placements in a really unique way in which it's just pipes, and you have to like match color pipes or types of pipes. And then those pipes will have flowers on them, or they can even grow into really big blossoms. And you're counting the points of how many flowers you have grown and how many chunks of one color that you have of these pipes. And it's an incredibly unique game for anything that I've ever played before. It feels like if the unlocking mini game in BioShock was really well thought out and like expanded into a 2-player game. And it's super fun. It's quick to play. It is one of those games though, where if somebody picks up on the strategy before you will get crushed. Like if somebody starts getting on this strategy, my wife and I played game 1, and we tied at 27-27. Then we played 2, and I won 32-22. Like, it was just, there was a definite swing in there. So, but other than that, super fun game. I highly recommend it. Is Botanic.
All
Yep.
right.
That's all I got.
Cool. All right.
Well, thank you very much, everybody, for being here. We appreciate your support. We want to say a really big thank you to Granger for the use of our theme song, All My Friends Have Wi-Fi, and so do most of my neighbors, off of the album Dear Sam. It is very good. You should go listen to Granger. They are good.
It slaps. It slaps, as the young ones say.
Not anymore, kid. Not anymore.
It's fire. Does it fire slap?
Fire, yeah, it's good. Yeah, that song's fire, man.
Is it a
Lit?
jam?
Nope, Lit's gone too. Lit is gone. Sorry, man.
I gotta update my dossiers.
Yeah.
Hey, if you're listening to this, we appreciate that. That in and of itself is support. Just being here and listening and enjoying or not enjoying, whatever the case may be, that's in and of itself support. If you wanted to support us more, you could jump onto SavePointMin.com.
SavePoint Ministries.
Dang it, I always get it wrong. SavePointMinistries.com.
We're on socials at SavePointMin. Our website is SavePointMinistries.com.
Yes. You could go ahead and shoot some financial support our way. We have a goal of just getting this, syndicated and getting it on, as a podcast up there, as opposed to just a Twitch stream as we're doing it right now. And getting there would be pretty quick if just a few people went up and supported us financially. But of course, if you don't, we understand.
Yeah.
We're here. We do this for fun and just glad to have a conversation. So thank you in whatever capacity you're able to support us. We really appreciate it.
If you want to keep the conversation going, you can always jump into our Discord. A reminder that if you're listening to this later, we actually live stream this every other week. And so if you want to jump on, first of all, we're on Twitch at SavePointMin. So twitch.tv/SavePointMin. You can follow us there. And then in the chat, we are constantly dropping that Discord link to come and join our community. We got a lot of good stuff going on over there. Thank you again for listening, guys. And always remember that saved games save lives.
Bye.
My voice sings all night, and this is what my heart sounds like.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Fox had to go handle his boy. He just woke up. And so I'm going to go ahead and just kind of tuck back through here and talk about the chat, because we did have some good stuff that I wanted to talk about here. So first of all, there was Wasabi Jane talking about how great the How to Train Your Dragon series is. Yes, it's incredible. By the way, Fargo Fox, you unfortunately missed my absolute adoration of Michael Carpenter from the Dresden Files series, talking about people who passed the nerdy gritty test and just how incredible Michael Carpenter is. But let's see. G Creature said that admittedly 2001 Jolie is smoochable. And I think no matter what human being you are, no matter how you identify, where you are, whatever it is, I think you can agree with that. 2001 Angelina Jolie is very smoochable. Yes. Wasabi Jane, we talked about specifically this. Best depiction of Christianity in a film ever is Friar Tuck chasing out the Sheriff of Nottingham in the animated Robin Hood. So, I mean, it is just so good. Him just getting it was absolutely, that scene in the animated Robin Hood from Disney is Jesus flipping tables to me. And it's him screaming at the establishments for taking advantage of those who need it, and just get out of my church. You are not the representation of what we want here. Get out. And such a good scene. So good. She also said, playing Starfield with a friend was texting my relief that a semi-Christian coded religion in the game does not appear to be evil. For now. No. Rabbit Room. Check out the Rabbit Room for a group that prioritizes story. If you guys have never heard Rabbit Room, it's content creators, maybe is a good way to put it, because I wasn't going to say authors, but they do a lot of different things. Singers, songwriters, TV show makers, things like that. But they create Christian content that is not propagandistic in every way, but is just wholesome and uplifting, and oftentimes points to Christ. Sometimes doesn't. Sometimes it's just good content. Andrew Peterson is my, the one that I know the most, and his Wing Feather series, as well as his music. Rabbit Room is great stuff. Go check it out. Let's see. Fargo Fox says, You're okay. He says he's okay with the distillation. He liked the Sci-Fi Dresden series. We will lovingly disagree on that. The Sci-Fi Dresden series was a little bit of a disappointment to me for a lot of different reasons. Like, I don't know. I felt it misrepresented characters. I thought that, I don't know. It definitely did a good job of being noir, but also both noir and fantasy, like magical. But other than that, it was a little disappointing to me. But yeah. Looks like those are the comments that we have here. So I will go ahead and sign off and say thank you guys so much for being here. We really appreciate you. One more time, remember that Save Point is part of an overall ministry that helps people that are nerds and nerd hobbies that are maybe looking for a church or just looking for a place to plug in, get some more social interaction. We help find what we call nerd-friendly churches for people who are looking for it. So this is the place where people can teach you about Jesus and who he is, but at the same time, who are going to share your hobbies and play Magic with you, or talk to you about D&D, or talk to you about Michael Carpenter in the Dresden Files series, or whatever else. Like, so if you're looking for a church like that, head over to our Discord channel or head over to our website. There's a Find a Church section in both of those, and we would love to plug you in. Or if you are right here in our chat, Find a Church, you can just follow that link right here in our chat. Thank you again for being here, everybody. And always remember that saved games. Oh, wait, no, wrong sign off. That was it. Our sign off for this is we love that each and every one of you were here today, but always remember that there is a church out there that would love it if you were there. We'll see you guys next time.